Recently, I've been deleting old games and apps from my phone to free up space, and I came across the game Granny. I remember playing it on the school bus like 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? Let's check the date. 7 years ago. Well... So I decided to play it one last time before deleting it, but I found myself playing it for hours. What followed was weeks of watching YouTubers and streamers play that kind of escape room horror games, and I decided that it would be a fun 2-week project if I made one myself. The first thing I needed was an idea, and I wanted to turn one of my life experiences into a game. When I was in high school, we had this kind of detention thing, where 12th graders had to stay after school and study for the university exam. It was cool for the first 2 or 3 times, but after that people just started to leave. I thought trying to escape after-school detention could be a fun concept, so I decided to go ahead with the after-school detention idea. I thought about what engine to use for some time. I know Unreal Engine 5 has some new mobile tools in some of its later versions, but I didn't think that it would be the best choice for a small project like this. Another option was Godot, but to be honest, I didn't really want to learn a new game engine for a 2-week project. In the end, my engine of choice ended up being Unity, as the target platform for this game was mostly mobile phones. So after what seems like ages, I created a new Unity project and started experimenting. Performance is my main concern other than gameplay in a project like this. I used to have a terrible budget phone, and I remember barely being able to play Granny when it first came out. I don't want anyone not being able to play the game just because they have a budget phone. So I will spend a lot of time optimizing the game. This means I have to make the game not look horrible, but also not run horrible. I'll spend some time explaining how I optimize the game near the end of the video. So if you're interested in hearing that, make sure to watch till the end. To start off, I implemented a simple player controller and started building the core of the school. I'm not a very good modeler. I'm not even remotely decent at it. But I created a wall, window and door model in Blender and use them for the layout. I also created a simple interaction system where you can open drawers and lockers. Another thing you can do is hide in the lockers. Now, I actually overcomplicated the locker hiding system. However, I think the code I wrote is reusable in some other projects. I really like Unreal Engine's controller possession system, so I recreated a simplified version of it in Unity. Basically, there's a game controller class and an actor controller class. An actor controller is basically any game object that can be possessed. Update, or rather tick logic, is only run if the actor is possessed. So, when the player interacts with the locker actor is possessed, and now the game only handles the locker's inputs. As I said, overcomplicated and over-engineered. But it's really nice to have a system like this just in case, because some future projects will most likely require something like this. Moving on, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the monster. I didn't want the monster to be a full-on monster, but I also didn't want it to be just a regular evil human character. I wanted a teacher enemy with a really extended neck, extended fingers, and a wrinkly face. As I mentioned, I'm not an artist, and I'm definitely not a character artist, so I'll be using Mixamo Fuse. And to be honest, after like 2 minutes of work, she looks quite nice. However, we can't add all the modifications I want just by using Fuse. So, I imported the model to Blender, and got to work using the proportional editing mode. I uploaded the model to mixamo.com, rigged it, and downloaded some animations for it. And voila, we have an enemy. Before we start working on the enemy AI, I wanted to extend the school a bit. Level design is definitely not my forte, but I think I made something that isn't absolutely abhorrent. Now at this point, it's already been 4 days, so we only have 10 more days to finish the game. Now it's time to tackle what I've been trying to avoid. Enemy AI. I love Unreal Engine's AI tools. Behavior trees are just so simple to use, and I just wish Unity had something similar. I know there are assets I can buy for this sort of thing. I only like using assets if it's something I cannot make myself. So, the enemy will be controlled by a finite state machine. The states I've thought of are dead, patrolling, chasing, confused, find out, and investigate noise. In dead, the enemy will do absolutely nothing, because they're dead. You know, that's what dead people tend to do. Hello, editing Zayap here. I just realized I was yapping about enemy AI states for 5 minutes, so for your sanity, I've removed it. Let's get on with the video, shall we? The biggest feedback I've received is that the game is too easy, and at this point of development, I didn't have time to redesign the systems. So, To fix this issue, we'll add a difficulty system. The current difficulty we'll call easy. As for the rest, I decided to go with normal, hard, and extreme. Normal is the same as easy, except she moves a tad bit faster, and when she hears a noise, she runs instead of walking. Hard is literally just a harder version of normal. Extreme mode is a bit different. Not only does she move faster than you, if she sees you, you're done. No matter where you are or how you hide, if she is chasing you, she will find you. And as if all that is not hard enough, I decided to add the granny-like game trope of dark mode. So in extreme mode, your view distance is lowered significantly and everything is darker. To be honest with you, this difficulty is meant to be a joke. I don't expect anyone to actually beat it. Now that we talked about the map, the enemy, and difficulty, let's focus on escape. I wanted to have multiple escape routes. However, I don't really have time to add too many, so I decided to go with just 2. The first escape method will be the most obvious solution, the front door. The second method of escape is gonna be nothing too special. It'll be a fire exit on the second floor. I don't want to go into too much detail about how you escape, because I want you to experience it yourself. I know they're simple enough. Obviously, to escape, you need items. I just used the interaction system I wrote before to implement a simple pick-up-drop system. I also added a few items ranging from different keys to some tools. I won't go into detail about any of them other than the slingshot. I wanted to add an item kinda like the gun in Granny.
I'm gonna line up right here we go, and shoot. Oh my god! We actually shoot Granny!
But I didn't want to use an actual gun because of the setting of the game. Since the player is a kid, I decided to go with a slingshot. Now, I didn't want the slingshot to be an item you found randomly, like other items. Rather, I wanted to add some soul into my game. That's why I created Dustin. This is Dustin. He's a bit weird. He serves absolutely no other purpose than that. His sole purpose in life, just trading you the slingshot, nothing else. No soul, no ambitions, no goals, nothing. If you shoot the teacher, she will get stunned for some time.
Enemy spotted.
The time that it stuns her for changes based on your difficulty. I think I mentioned everything to mention about the game itself, except maybe some secrets. Now let's talk about the thing I've been postponing. Optimization. Listen, I haven't made a mobile game in about 6 years. So in this project I underestimated the power of modern phones. I think I could have absolutely gotten away with making the graphics better. I guess this is a mistake I'll have to learn from for the next project. Something important in a game like this, where the map is quite large, is to bake lights wherever you can. For this project, I used Unity's universal render pipeline, and there are some shaders that really helped. Anything that doesn't move, such as walls, floors, can be given the baked lit shader, as we don't need real-time calculations to occur on them. This does remove any cool specular shines, but it should improve performance. Now, as for movable objects, we have a few options. However, since every light in the game is a baked area light, we actually don't have any options. So I decided to go with unlit. I only had to change the color to match the game's atmosphere, and I don't think it looks too shabby if I do say so myself. Up to this point, I've only tested the game on my own phone. Now, I don't have a super advanced phone, but it's a quite nice phone. I have a Samsung Galaxy S21. The game ran very well for me. So, I decided to send the game over to some friends with some lower-end phones. I mean, it runs well on my phone. It should also run well on my friends' phones, right? Right? Okay, so apparently we have some more work to do. I did a lot of profiling, debugging, and testing, and I found out that the issue was the baked lighting. What? But Zayap, you said that we were baking the lights to make the game run better. Now you're saying it's hindering performance? Well, the issue is the light maps themselves. We have too many light maps, and the light maps that we have are too high quality. Now, I don't have any footage of this, so you have to trust me on this one, but I think we had like 24 light maps. No wonder why it ran so bad. After removing some lights, optimizing the scene, and playing around with the light map settings, I managed to get it down to 7 light maps. I was sure this would improve performance, but I also wanted to tackle other aspects that might make the game run bad on some configurations. So I added a high and low graphics setting. The low graphics setting just lowers the texture quality and disables post-processing. At this point, the game is pretty much done. After sending the new build to my friends, I was happy to hear that the game ran well, even on high settings. At this point, the game is pretty much done. Nothing much to mention about the game development aspect, but I would like to take some time to talk about the mistakes I made during development in kind of a post-mortem section. So, what were the mistakes I made during development? I would say the biggest mistake I made was underestimating the power of modern mobile hardware. I thought nice lighting and more detailed environments would be impossible, but now I realize that might not be the case. In my next mobile project, I will most likely be more open-minded about graphical fidelity. The second mistake I made was gameplay related. The map is just too big. Our enemy is usually too far away from the player to be a real threat, making the game less about trying not to get caught and more about finding a spot to hide if you do end up getting caught. And I'd say the final mistake was trying to be like the other horror escape games too much. I should have tried making it my own thing, rather than trying to be a clone of other similar games. I think in the end it didn't end up being a full clone, but the resemblance is kinda uncanny. I think that covers everything there is. The game will be available on the Google Play Store, itch.io, in early April. I know there isn't an iOS release, and I'm really sorry about that. I have a Mac, but I don't have an iPhone. If there's enough demand, however, I'll find a way to release it to iOS. Maybe if the game is popular enough, I'll even create an enhanced PC version with better graphics and PC-specific gameplay. But who knows? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to ask them in the comments down below. Every now and then, I'll make and release a game that's shorter term than my other projects, such as Thievery Online. Maybe I'll even stream their development on Twitch if you would like to see that. If you liked this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. I'm really sorry for the delay once more. At this point it's gonna be a catchphrase of mine, but I assure you it was for a good reason. I'll probably talk about it once I get confirmation on whether I can actually talk about it or not. But it was for a good reason, trust me. Well, see you in the next one. Zype Guy out.